Hey guys, in the last video about the free texturing tool Materialize, I showed you how to create PBR texture maps from a diffuse texture. But now let's go ahead and map the textures that we exported with Materialize to a model that we are going to create with Blender 2.8. Okay, we start with a plane. Then I go to edit mode and add an inset by pressing the I key, then move the face a bit upwards along the Z axis. After that I assign the default material to the object, and to make it a bit more solid I add a solidify modifier. I check the property even thickness, and then I play a bit with the thickness property, and this looks good, so I apply the modifier. Okay, now let's go ahead to the UV unwrapping, which is pretty simple for this model. I just select this edge here, go to edge selection mode, press the W key and choose mark seam. This is the only seam we need, then I select all and press U to unwrap, and then I open a new window with the UV editor. I press the sync button to keep the selection of the UV editor and 3D view in sync, and also select face selection. Okay, these faces here are at the top of the model and these faces at the bottom. For this mesh I go ahead and select these faces by pressing the L key, and then I press the G key and move them to the inside of the faces that are mapped to the top part of the mesh. Then I select all the UV islands and move them to about the center. Okay, after that I press the S key and type in 4 to scale the islands up 4 times. Alright, and now I open a shader editor to actually add the textures to the material. To simplify this process, I use an add-on called Nodewrangler, which is delivered with Blender 2.8. You just have to go ahead and activate it. On the Nodewrangler tab, I select the button Add Principled Setup, and then I select the diffuse texture, also known as albedo, the metallic map and the normal map. These are the basic textures that you need for a PBR setup, and we exported these in a previous tutorial with the free tool Materialize. Okay, looks pretty good already, but I go ahead and add a bevel. I used the fast carve add-on for this, but you can also add a bevel modifier. And after that you can play a little bit around with the settings of the principled shader, for example the roughness. But you can also use the exported smoothness map to control the roughness. So duplicate the node for the metallic and load the smoothness map. And then I add an invert node because the roughness is nothing else than the smoothness inverted. Okay, then I close the shader editor and add some post-processing effects, for example ambient occlusion or the bloom effect. In order to make the bloom a bit more prominent, I bring the point light nearer to the mesh. And you can see it was a good decision not to add the UV seams at the top of the mesh, so that the visible parts are seamless and the textures can be mapped nicely at these areas. Okay guys, that's it again. I hope you find this tutorial useful and interesting. In the next part I will export the model as FBX and bring it to a game engine like Unity, Unreal Engine or Godot. So stay tuned, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching and I'll see you on JNM.